I think on the book it's founder, so call me founder.
Okay.
I think it's founder just because it looked better designed, not for any other reason.
And do you call yourself a health and lifestyle expert? I read that somewhere.
Entrepreneur.
Huh?
Entrepreneur, healthy lifestyle expert. Both of them are good.
You prefer entrepreneur?
I actually prefer both, but either one. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I'd call
Show's
myself.
about health mainly, though, so
I would do
don't
healthy lifestyle.
emphasize the entrepreneur part or not really.
I would do healthy lifestyle expert then.
Yeah, I mean, mostly that's what you're teaching people. Are you going to teach people to be entrepreneurs?
Maybe.
You could. Sounds like you're planning something.
No,
I was
no.
just a founder of Peer
I'm
Trainer
really not. It's really founder of Peer Trainer
and the
is
creator of the
great.
cheat system diet.
Creator of the cheat system diet. That's true. That's great.
That's very true.
That's perfect.
Okay.
Habib's like
I'm
shout.
gonna say all of that. I'll try.
Habib's contributing in the background.
Thank you.
Oh my god! I just had a latte with an extra shot. So I'm like, ah.
You must be spazzing. I just had tea. I don't do coffee.
Look at you! Like I just had tea.
Just like
I'm very relaxed in your
I'm
eyes.
relaxed. I'm relaxed. You can't even imagine how many lights, cameras, and people I have like
We're
here.
rolling, guys.
I know. I see the microphone. I love it.
Thank you. Oh, so you guys have that in there on purpose, right?
Yes.
You like that? Okay.
Well, it looks like a show.
Right. I guess.
Microphone.
I guess that's the fun. All right. Are we ready?
We're ready to go. We're rolling.
Okay. All right. So I intro to the camera, right, Steve?
Yep.
Okay.
Or actually, just I want to talk directly to her. Just say, hey, it's so great to have you here,
Oh,
Jackie.
okay. Right. That's right. We did that yesterday. Okay.
Also got it to the camera as well. Whatever y'all want to do.
Gosh, Jen, you're obviously on camera all the time. You are so relaxed.
Oh, are you nervous, honey? Don't be nervous. You're just
No,
having
I'm not
fun.
nervous. No, I'm not nervous. You're particularly like, okay, I do this every day.
Really?
She has been.
Cool. Yeah, I have been doing it every day for a few days now, but all right. So we're gonna talk about cheats, her favorite cheats. Yeah. I know. Okay.
My
Who
favorite
hates
cheat.
when I like review stuff beforehand or even say anything to you beforehand. All right, we're just gonna start. Hey, Jackie, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you so much. So, Jackie, you are the founder of PureTrainer.com, which is an amazing support system for dieters. And not only that, though, the creator of the Cheat System Diet, and your new book, The Cheat System Diet, just came out. I'm so excited for you.
Oh, thank you. It's been a labor of love. I'm so happy now.
Congratulations. I know you're helping so many people with this, and I'm so excited to talk to you about it because it's, I loved the minute I saw the cover of the book. I was hooked. I was like, this is amazing for people. But you know what? Interestingly, not so much for me. And you know this about me, right? Because we know each other. I'm much more of an all or nothing person, right?
Yes.
You've seen me, right? And and JJ, and we hang out, and you know that some people, what I'm seeing is that some people are all or none people, and some people are gotta have cheat people. So this is just an amazing system for all the people out there who are like, I can't follow a diet like what I would tell them to do. I want them to be perfect all the time. And maybe that's totally unrealistic because after hanging out with you for a weekend, I'm like, wow, look at you. You stay in amazing shape. You look awesome, yet you do allow these cheats. So tell me more about the Cheat System Diet.
Thank you so much for that. And it's interesting because what we've been doing peer trainer for a decade, and we've seen hundreds of thousands of people. And we've seen that they know what to do and they say what they're going to do, but what they actually do is completely different. And what I can say, the number one thing I can say is almost everyone cheats, but no one has a system that they really understand. Okay, I can cheat and I can still lose weight. And that's what we did. We created a system based on what people will actually do. And what we've seen is when they do this system, they don't go into brain chaos. I mean, we both know Dr. Srini Pillay, and he talks extensively. He's a Harvard medical professor, and he talks about something called brain chaos, and that you have to have a good deal for your brain. If you're going to ask me to have a salad, it better be so much better than that pizza that I really want. And how do you do that? You do it with your favorite cheats. For me, it's bacon and goat cheese. I mean, I love a salad if it has my favorite dressing and my favorite cheats on it. So it's really about having a system and understanding, hey, listen, I'm going to eat mostly off the eat list, but I'm not going to throw myself into brain chaos to be perfect. I mean, I have to say, if we all could do it, we would. That's where I'd love everyone to be, just like you were saying. But what I've seen, what people will actually do, you have to create a system based on that so they don't beat themselves up.
It's so revolutionary, and I just love the concept because, like you said, let's face it, most people will cheat, right? And it's not like I never cheat either. I said, what I would like people to do would be to be perfect all the time, but of course nobody can be. I can't be, and you can't be. So I love that you've systematized the idea of cheating. So how do you differentiate between cheats and eats? How do I know what I can eat and what the cheat is, and just give us a little behind the scenes on how does that system work?
That's a great question. It's a simple list, and it's so clear because on the left side you have your eats, and on the right side you have your cheats. And you can imagine the eat side is unlimited, and you can imagine what's on that eat side, of course, because you obviously know this stuff. The sweet potato, the beans, the asparagus, the artichokes. What I've seen and what people write me about is they say, okay, I've looked at this list. I can't believe I haven't eaten one eat in 10 years or 20 years. And it's real. And what they've done is they beat themselves up, and they've gone into such guilt. They say, well, you know what? I've already messed up. I already don't do this. Why start now? And so I have them look at this list, and I say, just circle. I know you think you don't like eats. I know you think you don't like high nutrient density, micronutrient density food. Just circle things you like. And suddenly they say, I love artichokes. Artichokes are one of my favorite things. I love broccoli when it's cooked a certain way. So one thing I've seen is if people like the food, they'll like the diet. And that's obviously why I've emphasized so many amazing recipes like warm applewood bacon soup, which is one of my favorites. Or, you're going to put broccoli with Parmesan crisps on it. Again, those are the cheats. So you're unlimited on the eat side and the simple list. And on the right side, you have your cheats.
Back from, you're going to have, like, you were telling me about some foods like broccoli with Parmesan and things like that.
Oh, right, sure.
Like what you said just before that, if you can remember.
Yeah, no, totally. If you like the food that you're going to eat on the diet, then you're going to diet. You're going to say, okay, I can live with this. I'm not making a bad deal here. And so that's why we really emphasize the recipes. I have over 100 recipes in the book, and I have raving fan favorites. I mean, one of my favorites is warm applewood bacon soup. Another one is having the vegetable that you might like, whether it's asparagus, whether it's broccoli, with Parmesan crisps on it. Or some people will wrap things in bacon, and I call it cheat confetti because it's really meant to be confetti, and it's really meant. And it's meant to make things taste good. So that's really the eat side, is you have this high micronutrient density food, and I want it to be 80% of your plate. And I want you to really look down at your plate and say, okay, where are the eats? Because the eats are going to make you feel full. The one big thing that we've seen with the people at Peer Trainer is that, guess what? They have this mantra, nothing tastes as good as thin feels. Well, thin doesn't feel good. And when you're stressed out and your boss just yelled at you and gave you something at 5 o'clock in the afternoon and you really needed to go pick your daughter up, you're going to get stressed out and you're going to say, you know what? I don't care how good thin feels. I'm going to order a large pizza. And you're hungry. And that's the thing about the eats, is when you look down at your plate and you see 80% eats, that micronutrient density food is what's going to make you feel full. And then you look at the cheat side of the list, which is the right side. The cheats are very simple. You don't have to worry about fat. You don't have to worry about fiber. We've done all that work for you. You look at a calorie count of something. It's 100 calories equals one cheat. So, for example, one slice of bacon, that's a cheat. And you start to get really familiar with it. Of course, there are a few exceptions to the rule. For example, NutraSweet, even one serving of NutraSweet is a cheat. And you might say, wait a minute, there are no calories in that. I don't understand that.
Right.
And
Can you
that's the thing.
explain that?
Yeah, you learn the exceptions to the rule because we all know what can happen with artificial sweeteners and how that can alter your hunger. And one of the biggest things we've seen is that when people really focus on the eats, and of course, we in the 3 week plan in the book, we give you the first week we give you 10 cheats, the second week we give you 8 cheats, the third week we give you 6 cheats. But it's like a balancing scale. You have to really look at it and say, let me just focus on the eats and let me try to make the eats heavier than the cheats.
That's so awesome, Jackie. One of the things that I think people really would love about this is because they don't have to feel deprived. So many people, when they get on a diet or when they get on an eating plan, they worry about feeling deprived because they have to miss their favorite foods. And that's one of the best things you're doing. You're getting rid of that deprivation.
Exactly. And the number one thing when you get rid of that deprivation is you get hope. You feel like I can do this because, again, as you know, that's the one thing. I mean, you see people all the time and you hear them say, I really want to do this. Why do I keep sabotaging myself? Why do and they start beating themselves up. Why don't I want this enough? And they do want it enough. It's just that they don't have the system and they blame themselves psychologically and they don't understand all the components going into it, the chemical components, the physical components of simply going through the withdrawal of the sugar that they're eating.
Hey,
And
Jackie,
so
let me ask you a question. What about the challenge that some people have that if they cheat a little, they go off the rails and that causes them to, really overeat and go crazy and can't get back on track? What do you say to people who say, oh, I can't do that. If I cheat, it's over?
it's a great question. What we found is that when they finally have the permission in the brain to even have cheats whenever they want, not a cheat day, not a cheat meal, but cheats whenever they want, but they combine it with the eats, the micronutrient part of the equation, and they're full, they are shocked. One thing we hear over and over and over is, I can't believe it. Not only am I full, I don't have those bingy things of I've cheated and it's all over because we've done it with the system and we've done it with permission.
Oh, now I see what you're saying. So it's all about the balance. So you
Yes.
know what? You keep mentioning micronutrient dense. So, for people who are listening, watching at home, tell me what you mean by micronutrient dense, because I love this 80-20 thing.
If you've ever been in
So
Whole
what you're saying is vitamin A, vitamin C, magnesium, those are the actual micronutrients.
Yeah, the micronutrients in the food. Thanks for clarifying that. And then when you go into Whole Foods, sometimes you'll see numbers above certain things. That's what the Andy scale is based on. So the biggest thing that's really interesting about it is you'll see the greens, the highest micronutrient content foods like kale or collard greens. They're at 1,000. But what's interesting, I wrote about this in the book, is everyone's always saying brown rice is so much better than white rice. On the micronutrient scale, brown rice is 24. Remember, I just said that Andy scale was 1 to 1,000. Brown rice is 24. Kale and collard greens are at 1,000. Romaine's at like 700 or 800. And don't quote me on that because that's, kind of up there. But so brown rice is 24, white rice is 12. You're
I
talking.
get your point.
It's all cheats.
Just
It's all
nothing.
cheats. Who cares? So if you like white rice and you don't like brown rice, you have to stop beating yourself up of, but I'm going to get the little fiber in the brown rice. It's all cheats because it doesn't have a high micronutrient profile. And to embrace a different lifestyle, you have to take steps. And by making nothing off the table, there are no excuses in the mind to say, well, I can't do that. I love my wine too much. I can't do that. If I had to give up coffee, I would freak. And so it's not really about that. It's really about getting you into the steps to a healthier living and also something you can live with.
That's so awesome. So, Jackie, you've been doing this for so long and you look so great. But I wonder, so where did all this come from? Do you have any personal experience with it?
Yeah, that's a great question. I started peer trainer because basically on the thesis that well, backing up for a second, I gained 60 pounds in my pregnancy and I thought, oh, it's all just going to melt off. And
60
yeah,
pounds.
I should have, I know, she's a doctor.
Wow, yeah, I'm an OBGYN, and we know 60 pounds that's more than baby weight, right? Let's be fair.
If I had walked into your office and said, like, okay, where are the chocolate bars in the purse? I just could not stop eating. It didn't even matter. But the reason that there was no discipline and I didn't stop myself from anything is I had read all the magazines and they also said I was going to lose all the weight from breastfeeding. And I really hadn't had a problem with weight before. So I was like, oh, this is just so easy. And I've committed to breastfeeding and I'm just set. So I
worry. You gained 60 pounds, but you were like, hey, it's fine. It's going to
oh,
come off, and
okay.
it didn't worry you.
Yeah, I had no idea. I didn't even realize I was getting older, so maybe that might be a problem. So I was 185 pounds.
How old were you at
And,
this point?
pardon me?
How old were you at this point?
I was 30, I had 33 is when I had
Okay,
Jake.
so
So
you're in your 30s, yeah.
52, exactly.
Metabolism might not be as
Exactly.
okay. I'm
And
getting the picture now.
if you were my physician, you'd been like, Jackie, you probably would have said to me, stop.
Did your physician ever say to you, Jackie, stop, what are you doing?
You know what? No,
No.
no,
Really?
no.
Because I'm sure you went and got weighed toward the end, especially every 2 weeks.
I did. It was just like, well, it's a little bit more. We would have liked to see you at 35 pounds max. We would have liked to see you there. But and maybe they're a little
excused that other 25. No biggie. All right.
Isn't that interesting?
It's
Funny because you don't I didn't really think about that now. Like actually nobody did say anything to me. And my husband would just say, "Oh, you're just so beautiful. Big, you're beautiful, small." I mean, I wasn't getting any words.
Nobody told you to put the brakes on. Wow.
No one. And so I sat there and said, well, nothing's a problem and I'm going to lose all the weight after I have Jake. And I was 185 pounds. And I said, okay, well, now it's time to breastfeed. And
by the way, let's talk about, you're not that tall. I mean, 185 pounds. You're 5'5".
Yeah, I'm 5'5", 185. And I really was 185. I wasn't this beautiful, sure. You just had this big baby. No, I was horizontal. I mean, I was horizontal from the behind. I was horizontal from the front. I was horizontal.
Wow. You must be uncomfortable. I mean,
it's funny you just said that. It was uncomfortable, and I experienced what people talk about, that weight on your knees. That it becomes 5 times what your weight really is. I was always in pain. I was in pain walking. I was in pain doing everything, and I wonder if that also slowed me down, and contributed even more to the weight gain. And so I have Jake, and I say, oh well, this is easy. I'm going to breastfeed. So I start breastfeeding, and 4 to 5 months after, I'm at 145 pounds. I had 165. Oh, 145.
Wow, you lost 40 pounds. That was awesome.
I lost 20 pounds. 20 pounds. That was it. So I'm sitting there with 40 pounds of weight, of real meaningful weight on me.
Wow. You mean
and
you couldn't make wait, how far out is this again from
This is 5 months postpartum.
5 months. So you were done making with the excuses that this 40 pounds is baby weight.
Completely.
It seems to me that you almost hadn't had that moment where you realize that this has really gotta happen. Was there a moment that you can remember, either that your friend said to you, hey, you're not looking so good, or maybe Habib said, okay, well, we're done with the big, beautiful pregnancy thing, your husband, and maybe said, hey, it's time to, was there a moment when you looked in the mirror and you said, wow, I just can't believe where I am?
Jen, that's the best question ever, because there is. I went out to dinner. Habib and I went out to dinner with actually one of our best friends, the guy who introduced us to my husband, and his new girlfriend. And his new girlfriend had seen me heavy, at the height of the pregnancy. And then she saw me after I had lost some weight, definitely a respectable amount of weight. I mean, I had sort of gotten down a little bit, even more than after I started peer training. And she said, wow, you look so good, his girlfriend. And I was about to say his name. I don't want to say his name. So Wes turned to his girlfriend and said, in the nicest way, he didn't mean this mean at all. He didn't understand what he was saying.
Right.
He said, "Oh, you should see what she used to look like."
Oh, you must have been devastated.
I was, but he's not a malicious guy.
No, not that he meant it, but just he wouldn't know the way that would have hit me, and I'm sure the way it hit you.
I'm getting flushed even talking about it. I remember it like hearing, "You should see how she used to look." That was my moment.
How long did you sit with that comment?
I sat with it for a couple days.
Did you cry it out over that? Because I probably would have lost it. I probably would have had to go to the ladies' room right then and just be like, "Oh my God, I can't believe what he said."
What you just said, was there a moment? I mean, some people have a picture, some people have, they're asked, "Are you pregnant?"
Oh God, yeah, that's a bad one.
Really, like, you should see what she used to look like, and you could see his face. It was so sincere, and it wasn't trying to be mean. And I said, "That is it. I am not going to go through my life looking like this. That's it."
That's when you made the decision.
Made the decision, and it was the most leverage I could have ever asked for, because it wasn't said in a mean way. It wasn't said to try to motivate me. It was such a real moment, and I said, "You know what? I did used to look good. Why am I settling for this? It's not who I am."
So what did you do?
And I started gathering everybody and everything that could not only help me. It was based on emails I would get, because people would have the problems I would have. And I would say, well, if I'm having these problems and people are having these problems, this is widespread. And if I can get this expert that is affiliated with us and helps solve these problems, we can make some meaningful changes in this frustration.
That's what I love about you, Jackie, because you've been there. You've been in that situation, that moment that every woman dreads when they look in the mirror and they just say, I can't, this isn't me. I don't want to be this way anymore. I need to change. And what do I do and where do I go? And you figured it out. Jackie, thank you so much for being so open and sharing your story. I know it's going to help so many people. What I want you to do right now for me is summarize the 3 biggest things that I can use to take away from the cheat diet right now to help me take weight off.
So the first thing is to remember that nothing is off the table. We always get that familiar feeling when we're like, "Oh, I've got to start this diet," and all that preparation and all these things that we have to get rid of, that we have to plan. And when we're going through that, we say, "Well, you know what, maybe I'll just start after my sister's wedding." To just remember nothing is off the table. Understand that this system is built with some forgiveness, so that you can sit there and say, "You know what, I'm going to learn that I focus on the eats, and then I can have my cheat confetti and cheats on top, and I'm really going to be able to make some headway." Remember that balancing scale. Those eats have to really focus more on those eats and those cheats.
So you want people not to get intimidated by the idea of jumping into this system, because there are the cheats and there are the eats, and they don't have to feel defeated before they even start.
Exactly. You don't go through that brain chaos. You've made a good deal. Great. I don't have to give up my favorite coffee. I don't have to give up my favorite chocolate, my favorite wine. It's all built in. It's a system.
Mm-hmm. So tip number 2.
Tip number 2 is, I want you to think about one thing that is tripping you. I usually say tripping you up. Something that during the week. We all have it. Whenever I ask this over email, some people say, "Oh, it's that candy bowl right on my desk in front, and I have 50 candies by the end of the day. It's the ceremony donuts that are always out there when I show up at the school." Everybody has that one thing. And I want you to commit to just making a change with that one thing for the next 7 days. Because what you'll see is that it's almost like lifting a 5-pound weight. We're always trying to do everything. Okay, I'm starting a diet. I'm going to drink 8 glasses of water. I'm going to make sure I work out 70 times this week. I'm going to eat salads every single meal, even though I don't like them. When you start with just one thing and you commit to one thing, it's like the 5-pound weight, and you start to build the muscle so that you can get to the next things. So yeah, tip number 2.
I love that.
Is just start with just one thing that is tripping you up.
That's awesome.
It's so important. Tip number 3, we all know that the only way that we can run a marathon is actually to know what's at the end of the 26.2 miles or any goal in life. You know, CEOs always have a vision. They have a vision board. They have their goal. They've written their goal and they're focused, because when the struggle comes up, when the bad day comes up, when your kids are freaking out, it's so easy to just say, you know what, forget it. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to write a very easy thing, whatever it is that motivates you, whatever your goal is, or whatever is something that excites you. For me, it's this is my year. So I'm always saying, this is my year, no matter what setbacks happen. And I want you to program that in your phone. You can do it anytime as an alert. You can do it at 8 a.m. if that works for you. It actually works for me at 8 a.m. You can do it at 6 a.m. You can do it at 3 p.m. I don't care what time it is. But I want you to have that sentence, and again, mine is, this is my year, and I want you to program it in your phone so that every day you're reminded, okay, I don't care what happened, this is my year, or whatever works for you. And you focus on, this is what I made a commitment to, it's in my phone, I'm gonna do it. And that's really going to set you on this path. It's kind of interesting. It's almost like a keystone habit that you're always hearing about. It mushrooms, it ripples out into other areas of your life. It's very interesting what happens when you actually have set that goal and you see it every day without proactively doing it, because you've set it as an alarm in your phone. It reminds you and it keeps coming back and stays with you each day as you go through those struggles.
That's excellent. It's kind of like having a mission statement and just reminding yourself of what your mission is every day.
And the small things really end up stacking into this really big thing. It's a snowball. It doesn't stop. You keep, okay, well, I want to do this, I want to do that. It's really interesting.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for being a guest today, Jackie. You've given so much great information to our viewers, and I really appreciate you being here.
So thank you.
I'm so excited because today we have Jackie Wicks, the creator of puretrainer.com and the creator of the Cheat System Diet. She's also the author of the new best-selling book, The Cheat System Diet. Welcome, Jackie Wicks. I have to admit that usually I think of dieting as kind of an all or none sort of thing. But what I learned from Jackie is that you really can cheat and still lose weight. And I think that's just amazing and in a way, such a relief for me and for so many people, that just because you blow it, that the revolutionary part of this is that it's not even blowing it. It's planned blowing it, which is really awesome.
Hey, Pedram, welcome to the show. I'm so excited